The deadliest poison you consume every day, and it's not food. It begins quietly. So quietly, most people never notice it. There are no warning labels, no strange taste, no unusual smell, no pain that makes you rush to the hospital. It doesn't arrive in a bottle, or a packet, or a meal. Instead, it arrives disguised as an ordinary Tuesday. An unread email, a difficult conversation, a bill you weren't expecting, a phone call that changes your mood, a memory that refuses to stay in the past, a future that hasn't happened, but somehow already feels frightening. And without realizing it, you consume it again and again and again and again. By the time the sun sets, your body has swallowed more of it than any meal you ate that day. The strange part, almost everyone believes this is normal, because everyone else seems to be doing the same thing. But what if the greatest threat to your health isn't something you eat? What if it's something you feel? What if it's something you feel every single day? Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is lying awake, staring at the ceiling, not because they're in danger, not because someone is chasing them, not because a storm is outside their window. Their body is perfectly safe, but their mind doesn't know that. It keeps replaying conversations, inventing worst-case scenarios, rehearsing arguments that may never happen, wondering whether tomorrow will be better or worse. Outside, nothing is happening. Inside, everything is eyed. The heart beats faster, breathing becomes shallow, muscles tighten, sleep slips further away. Morning hasn't arrived yet, but the body has already begun preparing for a battle that doesn't exist. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, you may have experienced it. You may have experienced it yourself. That moment when you're physically exhausted, yet your mind refuses to switch off. When your pillow becomes a courtroom where every mistake you've ever made returns to testify against you. When your future feels heavier than your present. When silence somehow becomes louder than noise. Most people call it overthinking. Scientists call it something else. They call it a survival response. And that changes everything. For thousands of years, your brain had one job: keep you alive. It didn't care whether you became successful, or popular, or wealthy. It only cared about one question: are we safe? If the answer was no, it acted immediately. The heart pumped faster, blood rushed into the muscles. Energy flooded the body. Pain became less noticeable. Fear became sharper. Your ancestors survived because of this system. When a predator appeared, it saved their lives. The danger lasted minutes. Then it was over. The body rested. The mind recovered. Life continued. But somewhere along the way, the predators changed. Today, most of them don't have claws. They have deadlines, notifications, financial pressure, relationship problems, endless comparison, fear of failure, fear of not being enough, fear of falling behind. The human brain never evolved to tell the difference between a lion standing 20 meters away and a problem that exists only inside tomorrow. To your brain, a threat is a threat, whether it's real, remembered, or imagined. And that's where the invisible poison begins. Imagine carrying a glass of water. For a few seconds, it feels effortless. Carry it for an hour. Your arm begins to ache. Carry it all day. The weight becomes unbearable. Now imagine the glass isn't filled with water. It's filled with worry. At first, it seems harmless. I'll think about it later. I'll deal with it tomorrow. I just need to get through this week. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. Eventually, you forget what it feels like to put the glass down. This is one of the greatest tricks chronic stress ever plays. It doesn't always become stronger. You simply become used to carrying it. Until exhaustion feels normal. Until interrupted sleep feels normal. Until irritability feels normal. Until living in survival mode feels normal. But normal doesn't always mean healthy. Doctors have long understood that poison doesn't always work instantly. Some poisons act slowly, silently, patiently. By the time symptoms appear, the damage has already been unfolding for years. The same is true for chronic emotional stress. It rarely announces itself dramatically. Instead, it whispers: one restless night, one forgotten memory, one headache, one skipped meal, one short temper, one anxious morning. Each moment feels too small to matter, but together, they begin changing something extraordinary: your brain. Hidden deep inside your head is a tiny structure no larger than an almond. Its job is simple: detect danger. The moment it believes you're threatened, it sounds the alarm. It doesn't wait for proof. It doesn't ask whether your fear is logical. It acts first. Questions later. Thousands of years ago, that instinct kept our ancestors alive. Today. It often mistakes uncertainty for danger: an unanswered text message, a presentation at work, a medical test result, a social media post that makes you question your own life. Your alarm system reacts, even when there's nothing to run from, and every time it does, another drop of that invisible poison enters your system. Not because your body is failing you, but because it's trying to protect you. Ironically, the very system designed to keep you alive can slowly begin wearing you down. Perhaps that's why some people wake up already tired. Not because they didn't sleep long enough, but because their body spent the entire night preparing for tomorrow. Perhaps that's why vacations don't always feel relaxing. Because you can leave your office, but your nervous system still believes it's at work. Perhaps that's why someone can smile in every photograph, yet quietly feel exhausted inside. Some of the deepest battles leave no visible scars. Here's the unsettling truth: your body keeps score. It remembers the pressures your mind tries to ignore. It remembers the nights you stayed awake, worrying, the grief you buried, the fear you laughed away, the loneliness you convinced yourself didn't matter. Long after you've forgotten the moment, your body often hasn't. And scientists are only beginning to understand just how deeply those invisible memories can shape our health. Because the next discovery would completely change the way medicine looks at stress. Researchers found that this silent poison doesn't just affect your thoughts, it can reshape your brain itself. And that's where our story takes an unexpected turn. What if I told you your body can remember pain, even when your mind has learned to ignore it? Not emotional memory. Biological memory, the kind that quietly settles into your heartbeat, your breathing, your sleep, your immune system. Your immune system. Until one day, you wake up wondering why you don't feel like yourself anymore. Not because something happened today, but because of everything that happened before today. The human body is remarkable. It forgives, it adapts, it survives, but it also keeps records: every late night spent worrying, every season of constant pressure, every fear you buried because life didn't give you time to process it. None of it simply disappears. It leaves fingerprints, not on your skin, but deep inside your nervous system. Imagine living next to a house with a smoke alarm that never stops ringing. At first, the sound would terrify you. After a while, it would annoy you. Eventually, you might stop noticing it altogether, but your body never would. That's what chronic stress does. It turns the brain's emergency alarm into background noise. The alarm keeps ringing, even when the fire is gone. Scientists have discovered that when the brain stays in survival mode for too long, it continues releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline far beyond what they were designed for. In short bursts, these chemicals are lifesavers. They sharpen your focus, increase your strength, help you react quickly. Every walk beneath the morning sky, every night of uninterrupted sleep, every moment you choose presence over panic, your brain is quietly taking notes. Stress is part of being human. Grief is part of being human. Fear is part of being human. Your body has been fighting for you, even on the days you were fighting against yourself. Never allowed to stop surviving, and perhaps the greatest act of courage in the modern world isn't working harder. It's teaching yourself that it's finally safe to live. If this story made you see your own life differently, tell us in the comments, what invisible burden are you ready to put down? Because someone reading your answer may realize they're not carrying theirs alone.